Love, it has been good to me this time around. Things were they were bound to change when it was found. Sugar never tasted sweeter on my lips. My heart is now intact and I can find
hello and welcome to X-Rad Live, the talk show that really does get you talking on the Xander Network, live from an undisclosed location. Okay, I will level with you. I'm Zux. I was bullied at school support center. Now, I didn't even mention anyone who he doesn't like or even ask about his wife, as apparently they just had a big fight. I am Xander Gibb. And on today's show, I get on my soapbox just for a change. I give the chance to get on your soapbox too. If you share in our live feed, I will be sharing your commentary as we go along. Irish politician, got the wrong teeth in tonight. Irish politician Cllr Jolene Bunting drops by. And later, Chet Martin, chief anchor from Freedom on Deck, joins us to break down this week's hottest topics. I'm sure you can guess what some of them are. You can have your say below in the live feed, as I said, and we'll be sharing as we go along. So make sure it's not too blue, or we won't be able to share it. Make sure it's all red, baby. Oh, yeah. You can call in if we get a chance to do that. I'll give you the number at the time so we don't have trolls trying to attack us. But what else did I want to tell you? I will, of course, be joining Joe Messina on the real side for my triumphant return, 6 Pacific. You can follow me on social media everywhere but Twitter, because Jack is about to be unemployed, or so I am hearing, but we will see about that. Oh, yes, sirree. So, the Pope recently reminded a group of hairdressers, you know, snip snip ladies, that gossiping was a sin and they should avoid having to fall into that. Yep, it's right up there with pedophile priests molesting our kids. Not on your playlist, eh, Popey Cummy the First? That guy really gets my goat. So I'm sure you've heard about this Guardian liberal blogger, Luke O'Neill, aka Puke O-Nazi from Boston, who claimed that the Donald told 10,000 lies during his administration. This idiot claimed that they were verified by him, an unknown liberal blogger. The 10 he gave as an example were so far-fetched, I hope that the Trump family sues Puke O-Nazi and make sure that people don't talk about him in this way in future, because it's one thing to disagree, but when you lie and say that facts are verified, you got to be a liberal for sure. And talking of liberals, the liberal Dumbo of the week, or should I say co-Dumbo, given the fact that every week Ocasio, Tlaib, and Omar come of first place, like joint first place every week, has to be a certain Jewish website owner, who I can't mention, is so damn insecure that anyone who disagrees with his ideologies, or should I say, and this is the crux of the matter, his the ideologies he's paid to have via George Soros and the Dems, is kicked off his platform. Now, let's face it, this data from Star Trek lookalike is such a pathetic individual, not just for kicking off many of my colleagues, but thinking he has the right to prescribe our political views like automatons. Well, Marky, I'm here to tell you that we are coming for you slowly but surely and systematically boycotting your biggest advertisers, lobbying Congress to get your business status changed, working towards International Intervention Day. Oh yes, sirree, we are planning an International Intervention Day. If you want to know more about that, you can go to the Conservative Intervention Facebook page, and all of the details are on the website. We will keep you informed of when that is going to be, and to keep you in the loop too. Let's go and say a quick hello to people. Let me just flick a switch so that I'm ready for my first guest, Councillor Bunting. All right, let's go backwards. Let's say some very quick hellos. Hello to Chet, who's my guest in part 2. Apparently, Facebook are not allowing my show to be shared in groups, so obviously I scare them. So if I do go, don't worry, because we're just working on a way to get the software to do the show directly through my website. So we won't need this platform anymore for that. Hello to Nicholas. Hello to Martha. Hello to Robert. Welcome to the show. Hello, my Gina. Welcome to the show. Hello to Tiffany. I was dying to say I think we're alone now, but I'll skip that. Hello, Ali. Welcome to the show, my brother. Hello, CV. Welcome to the show, buddy. Hello to Tony, who I believe is in the UK. Hello to everybody else that's in the live feed. If you're not in the live feed, do come and join us and have your say, and we will share your commentary. Oh, yes, we will. So I want to do the intro for my first guest, who's going to be calling us very soon. Jolene Bunting is a councillor and a politician from Ireland, and was sanctioned recently. Did she steal? No. Did she beat someone up? No. Did she shoot someone? Hell no. She was suspended because a cabal of far leftists who reported her for daring to raise her constituents' concerns regarding Islam and immigration, both in and outside of the council chamber. Now, she was recently deplatformed by a certain albino social media person. Jolene joins us very soon to give us an update about this. Tell us what you think in the live feed about the events that have been taking place lately, because obviously it is of grave concern to all of us that we're being deplatformed, and that we're having our politics prescribed to us, because I thought America was land of the free and home of the brave, and the First Amendment, the Second Amendment is also very important, but the First Amendment, with regards to our right to freedom of speech, was paramount, and the ideology that should end at a keyboard is rather concerning to me, but we'll be talking about that a lot more with my first guest, Jolene Bunting, and also my second guest, Chet Martin, and we will be delving deeper into these things. I'm just waiting for my first guest to call in. It looks like she is online. Let me see if I can get her. Here we go. Perfectly on time. Oh, I don't know what happened there. The wonders of Skype. Let me call her back. Good evening, Jolene. Welcome. Hello, how are you? Welcome back to the show.
I'm great.
Good. Well, I just kind of did a brief synopsis of your experiences with regards to the fact that you were attacked by a leftist cabal that tried to unseat you and stop you from doing your job with regards to being a councillor over there in Ireland. Now, it's a while since we spoke to you, and the last time you were on the show, you alluded to the fact that there was going to be some meeting as to decide as to whether you were going to be allowed to do your job, basically.
Yeah, basically, a cabal of Marxists and leftists had reported me to what's known as the local government ombudsman. who basically investigates if there's been any breaches in the Cllr Code of Conduct. The commissioner thought that it was acceptable to actually suspend me while he investigates this, something which has never happened in the whole history of politics in the UK. This has never happened, so it was extremely overwhelming for me, because I really didn't understand why they were doing it. I did understand, because I know that they simply want to silence me.
Right.
So they had put the complaints in. The commissioner had then suspended me in the interim while he done the investigation into these 14 complaints which were made. I appealed the interim decision to suspend me in the High Court. So I believe that it is unlawful that they suspended me.
Definitely.
Now, that hearing has gone ahead, and the judge dismissed 12 of the complaints, but upheld 2, and upheld the commissioner's decision to suspend me. I am going to appeal that legal decision, and I'm going to ask another judge to look at it.
Right. Because clearly we have no guarantees now whether the judges that are hearing our cases are leaving their politics at the door when they're making decisions that are supposed to be on the law, based upon the law, and not on how they feel as an individual with political leanings. Am I right?
Absolutely, Xander. And I think that we have, and I think there's always been a history of having people with law enforcers being too connected to the lawmakers.
Right.
And I think we need to be very careful, and that's why I am appealing the judge's decision, and I wish for another judge to take a look at this in the hope that they will leave their politics at the door.
Absolutely. So I want to just take a step back a little. Can you give me an example of what some of these complaints were that you were doing wrong, given the fact that you were kind of working on the basis of what your constituents were asking you to do, and with regards to their concerns?
Absolutely, Xander. As I'm sure your listeners know, there has been a purge in the UK of Islamic extremists.
Yep.
And I simply wanted to highlight this. And the two complaints that were actually upheld by the judge were my association with Jada Franzen.
Right. Let me stop you 1 second. For people who don't know, do you want to just tell them who Jada Franzen is? Because she's probably not as well known internationally as she is in the UK. Yeah,
Jada Franzen is the former leader of a group called Britain First, and they are a patriotic political group. And at the minute, she is having to fend off quite a lot of Marxist, leftist, fascists who simply do not want her point of view and don't believe that she has a right to her opinion.
Right. Thank you.
So the judge upheld 2 decisions based on 2 things which Jada had said that I had endorsed by either being with her at the time or I had held the event, and I had been asked how the speeches had gone at the event which Jada was speaking at, not myself, Xander, and that needs to be really highlighted as well, is the fact that the judge could not hold anything that I had actually said.
Right.
While there was 14 complaints, only 2, and both the complaints were not actually anything that I had said wrong. So that was an example of 2 of the complaints. We also had a meme, a racist sectarian meme, it was called. It is basically, as we are going through Brexit,
We've lost you.
Hello?
Hi, you're on hold. I don't know what happened.
Xander, I apologize. I don't know what happened there.
No worries. Feel free to carry on.
Yeah, so as we're going through Brexit, I had indicated that it would be a good idea for Ireland to leave the EU, and I had shared a meme of two frogs, and these frogs were seen as racist frogs.
Wait. Frogs as in rivet. Frogs can be racist now?
Yeah, there's a particular frog which seems to be
Oh, you mean the wide-mouthed frog that is associated with Q and all that kind of thing?
Pepe.
Right. Pepe, right.
Pepe the frog.
Yeah.
And, you know, there was no harm meant by this meme.
No.
However, these Marxists, these leftists, seem to dig for to be offended. And actually, I have just received a letter from the Commissioner to say that my posters for the recent election, I've just been through an election, and I've actually lost my seat, Xander.
You lost your seat. So do you attribute the way you have been treated and labeled and all of these things to why you possibly lost your seat?
Well, I'll let your listeners be the
right.
Judge of that, because I was suspended for 4 months of my term, coming up to an election. The last month up to that election, I was actually suspended from my seat and could do nothing for my constituents.
Wow.
I did still do bits and pieces throughout the community, but in terms of the council, I could do nothing. So obviously that is going to affect it.
Of course.
Not only that, and I know that your listeners will sympathise with me on this one, but Facebook also basically
deplatformed you.
Wiped me out. And I mean, 10 accounts, over 130,000 followers, and I lost every single account that I had access to. And really, you know, I know President Trump has spoken out about this, and I'm so grateful for him doing so, because there is no one else speaking out about this. But in the middle of an election campaign, 2 weeks into the election, my Facebook was, I was completely deplatformed, and I lost most of my constituents' complaints, my constituents' messages, all came through Facebook. It was my main way of connecting with people. They deplatformed me and disabled my account.
Wow. Now let me ask you this as a side issue, and we'll talk about this privately. Do you have a website?
I do, yes.
You do?
I'm on jolenebunting.uk.
Right.
And I'm in the middle of a revamp at the minute. I have huge plans, and at the minute we are putting those plans into action, and I'm really excited about the new ventures ahead of me.
Brilliant.
Obviously, I have lost my council seat. I've seen that as an opportunity. There's no point in being defeated. I've seen that as an opportunity not only to challenge Facebook and to challenge the commission and say, this is not right. You're messing with democracy.
Absolutely. I want to sidestep for a minute. Sorry to interrupt you. But we talked about this yesterday, and the fear for me and for many of us is that when we're categorized as being dangerous, how that affects us in the real world. Because do you think, and obviously we've agreed that we are anti-violence, but do you think that this is going to lead to violence? Because people that are saying that because we hold certain views, even though we're peaceable, we're violent.
Absolutely, and I believe that it's the support, and it's the people who are listening to our story, and the people who we can connect with, are really starting to get angry. I know they're starting to get angry, and I always say there's always more than one way to skin a cat, I suppose the old saying is.
Yes.
But there is definitely there's definitely more to this than violence, and we must remain peaceful.
We must.
And the saying that we are being driven underground, and when a group of people, a community who have legitimate concerns are driven underground, that is when you start having violence and criminal activity around that, and I don't want that. You don't want that.
No.
However, it seems like the mainstream media and the leftist globalists seem to want to drive us into criminality. I always say, do not give them what they want.
No.
But there is a real potential here that people will feel the only way they're going to be listened to is through violence.
And the concern, we discussed this yesterday. Obviously, I don't want to give too much about your situation, but I know you're a mom, and obviously, I get that a lot of what you're doing is because you want to kind of protect the future for your kids. But isn't it a scary world we live in when we're designated as dangerous just for disagreeing? I mean, how does that make you feel? I spoke to your kids yesterday. How does that make you feel as a mother?
It terrifies me. It absolutely terrifies me. Not only that we're being labelled as dangerous, but that some patriots are actually being thrown into prison. Other patriots are being demonised in other ways. And what terrifies me is that this is only the start. And this is only the beginning of demonising patriots.
Right.
And my children will be brought up to know that the country they live in is one which should be great, and that they should fight to ensure that their country, and when I say fight, I mean go into politics, highlight the injustices. Right. I don't mean in the violence way, in a violent way, but and of course, Xander, I have to clarify that, which I shouldn't need to.
No, of course not. But we're all having to do it. We're all having to clarify. And when I as an openly gay man, I have to say that, I'm not anti-LGBT. When I say I don't want kids in school to be read story time by a drag queen, I have to clarify that I'm not homophobic. And that kind of bothers me. That they're now teaching, we talked about this yesterday too, where they're now teaching, is it Arabic in schools? And that scares the bejesus out of me, it really does.
Yeah, it is absolutely terrifying. And what I believe the Marxists and leftists and globalists are doing, or they're trying to rot our children's minds, and they are trying to make the abnormal normal. And I believe that we have already lost a whole generation who think that the abnormal is normal.
Right.
And I just pray that my children, my oldest is 6, my youngest is 4, and I just pray that my children will know right from wrong, and that doesn't seem to be the case in a lot of children who, especially in universities and in some of the schools, they are being taught that wrong is right and right is wrong.
It's scary, and surely as a parent, I'm not a parent, but surely as a parent, you should have a say in what your children are taught over and above, reading and writing and et cetera, et cetera. You don't want social issues indoctrinated into your children, because that to me is terrifying.
Absolutely, and if you do speak out, you are hit with the usual labels of fascist, racist, and bigots, and that is not the case. It's simply about preserving my children's minds and teaching my children right from wrong.
Absolutely. Now, I've not met Jada. I don't know Jada Franson, but I know that she's kind of at the very end stage of this disenfranchisement, deplatforming. She's even served time in prison, and this lady is a Christian, and the way she's been treated is abysmal. What point do we actually get to stand up and say, you got to stop this now?
Absolutely, and we in the UK, a lot of people around the UK will know Jada. I'm sure a lot of your listeners will know her. If you don't know her, try to Google her name. She has been so demonized. It has been absolutely unbelievable. The pressure that this young lady is under, and as you say, she is a devout Christian.
Yeah.
And I'm quite grateful to her because she is such a strong person, and she keeps fighting even when she is being hit with constant bombardment. And as you say, she was thrown in prison. She came out more determined than ever. They're now trying to throw her back in prison. But she is a very clever, very wise lady who is fighting them as hard as she possibly can. But it's extremely hard,
right, because
you're fighting the elite.
You absolutely are. And the concern is that I thought this was bad 2 years ago when they took my Twitter account off me with 40,000 followers that I'd worked very hard to. But now it's a million times worse. We are kind of, I could talk to you all day, but we are at the end of our time together. I know you're going to come back and speak to us again very soon. I just shared your website, and so when that's going to be back up, I guess people can contact you via...
It's still up and running. At the minute, I have loads of plans. However, I am still, the war chest is empty. I've just lost my main source of income. So if your listeners can afford to, I would love to have them donate. And all my information will be on that website. Keep an eye on the website. Unfortunately, I don't have social media. So keep an eye on the website, and I'll keep you all up to date with my case and with other things that are happening in Northern Ireland.
Absolutely. Listen, thank you so much for your time and for being up at this ungodly hour. I will catch up with you in the real world very soon. Thank you so much. Counselor, I keep calling you Counselor because you're so counselor to me. Irish politician Jolene Bunting, thank you so much for your time.
God bless, Xander. Thank you.
You too. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
That was Counselor Jolene Bunting. Please make sure you check out her website and see what she's trying to do, because her struggles are the same as those that are going on in the United States right now. My next guest is gonna be coming on any second now. He is Chet Martin, and he is the host and chief anchor on Freedom on Deck, which goes out Sundays 3 till 5. He'll have lots more information about that show, but really go and check out, here we go, Jolene Bunting. I don't know what happened there. Let me just see if that was... Is that you, Chet?
This is me.
Hello, sir. Welcome back to the show. How is the world with you?
It's good. Usually I call in and do some pathetic imitation to break the ice, but your last guest inspired me. And I want to tell people about this. In the Hampton Bays district and the Hampton Bays Middle School, where my nephew went to school, actually they teach religions at the middle school. This was a few years back, Xander.
Right.
Now, what they did was They taught a day for Buddhism. They taught a day for Christianity. They taught a day for Judaism. They taught a day for actually atheism. Like they usually spend about a day, right? You know how long they spent teaching Islam?
A month.
2 weeks.
Wow.
As opposed to a day for everybody else.
But it's not indoctrination, Chet. Don't go there. What are you, one of these anti-Islam people?
Apparently now I can't even share to groups. I'm not sure about my other accounts, but they basically told me I can't share to groups anymore. Why are they even banning me anymore? It's not like I can really communicate with anybody anyway. When I used to share on Freedom on Deck, it would get 3,000 views on a single post. Now I'm lucky it breaks 300.
Right. Well, you know, you were back on the show in the old days, you know, before I had my car crash. You know, we had thousands and thousands of people, you know, watching the show. And the thing is now, they've set the algorithms so much that, number one, they don't report the numbers appropriately. They don't tell people that you're on. And they also don't allow people to share, like was your experience tonight. But I want to rewind a little, because obviously, as I said in the preamble, and let's not mention names because we don't want to get cut off, you know, during the broadcast. But many people were deplatformed this week, and I wonder when it is going to be our turn, because that is how bad it is getting, that people are being deplatformed for absolutely sod all.
Well, yeah, now the news that's came out with either Facebook or Twitter or any of these other conglomerates. I mean, you know, Google doesn't really affect that, but they do affect whether you can have an app or they've cornered the market, and I'll get into that in a little bit. But now if you even mention their name, and I'm not going to mention their name.
No.
They're a lot of good conservative Americans, and they threw in one leftist agitator.
Yeah, just for the sake of it.
I mean, that's...
Just so you couldn't turn around and say it was all people from one group. But, you know,
well, then the Washington Post came out and called him a right-winger. That was hilarious. But what they do now is, like, if you share anything from... I'm just going to call him Indiana Jones.
Right.
If you share from Indiana Jones's site,
right,
you'll be taken down.
Yeah, which to me is ridiculous. I mean, this is one of the things that we discussed. One of the things we chatted about during the week in the United States of America. If I, as a gay man, went to a baker and said, "Hey, buddy, bake me a cake. I'm going to marry my boyfriend," like I have one. And he says, "No, Zanny, I love you, but I'm a Christian. I don't hold truck with that, so I'm not going to be able to bake you a cake." I can sue that guy, and he can end up losing his business. But Jack Dorsey can withdraw my Twitter account as a gay person. I can do nothing. So where is the correlation and all this about, it's a private business, they can do what they like. So how come the baker, as a private business, can't turn around and say, I'm not providing a service for you, but Jack Dorsey and the data impersonator can?
Well, the argument would be that, okay, well, this baker that they've been targeting, let's be clear, they've been targeting that guy for a long time, right? They've been harassing him. The argument would be, well, he didn't have to, he wasn't forced to, he went through the Court of Appeals and he was actually found that he was in his rights not to bake this cake. But the argument from me is the left wants him to. They want to force that on him. But for these platforms to say we're not promoting conservative ideas because it doesn't align with us and it's hate speech is absolutely ridiculous.
Right. First of all,
nothing that I've ever heard you say, and you've been completely taken off Twitter, which is an embarrassment,
right,
has ever been hateful. I think one of the big things with you was you may have said something derogatory as far as like a homosexual orientation, but you're gay yourself.
Right.
Now, I think you have actually a lawsuit on your hands. You could sue them for their discrimination upon you.
Well, they actually said when Twitter took away my account, they said the reason they'd done it was that I was an attack account. And I argued with them and said, actually, I'm a defense account. Because if somebody attacks my president as a patriot, I have the right to actually say, I'm sorry, you're wrong, and to give them a counter argument, for one of a better word. And that's what social media used to be about. I don't care if they hate Donald Trump. I really don't care. But when they misrepresent him, then they're messing with me. And you know, the bigger issue to all of this, Chet, is you and I both know all of this deplatforming and all of these other things are because they know how strong the Trump train's social media section was.
Yes.
In the run-up to the election, and they think if they can take that away from us now, that it's going to lose the election. But I spoke to someone on Trump's team this week, who I'm not going to name, and I know that the Donald is pissed about it, and I know that he's going to do something about it. But the concern is that will part of what the Donald does ensure that we get our accounts back and that we get to be replatformed, because I think that would be a basic premise of moving on. Because if not, pay your taxes how you're supposed to, because the tax dodges that all of these platforms are on is absolutely ridiculous, because they're laughing at us. They're absolutely laughing at us.
No, you're absolutely right. Trump won on Facebook. He won on Twitter. He won on Instagram. He won the election because of that, obviously. Now, he also won because of help from certain individuals. You know, I'll say smaller shows like mine and yours, and bigger shows like Michael Savage and Mark Levin have helped President Trump get elected.
Yeah.
But the thing is, what we have to do is we have to petition President Trump to make sure that he protects us on social media, because I do get worried when I see Jack Dorsey in the White House snuggling up to Jared Kushner.
Me too.
And then I sent you that link where the Pentagon actually had Google in their offices creating these, what do you call those things? The drones? Military drones.
Wow.
That Google is in the Pentagon creating this. And I sent it to you, and it's from a reliable site.
Scary.
And they were kicked out. They were not allowed to stay there. But we can't allow that to happen. President Trump has to realize that they're targeting his supporters.
Absolutely. Because the things that, you know, we need to talk about fighting back now, as far as I'm concerned. And when I say fighting back, I don't mean with violence, before anybody writes in. You know, send it to Xander, Gibb at IDon'tGiveACrap.com. There are several ways we can fight back. We have to lobby our senators to actually get the status of these platforms changed, because when they started, they weren't supposed to be what they're doing now, and they're actually prescribing our politics whilst claiming that they're actually doing something else. So we need to lobby our senators to get them to change their status in order to actually make them pay their taxes. We need to boycott all of their advertisers. You know, there's a list out there that I put out there of all their big advertisers. But we're also planning things.
And everybody else.
Yeah. We're also planning this International Intervention Day. But you know what? We said this week. If we're not all going to come together to do this, then you and I may as well pack up. Because the thing is, at the end of the day, I'm tired of fighting for you all. I'm doing it on my damn own. No disrespect to you.
No, absolutely. When I'm getting banned and shadow banned on Facebook, which I am, and I have to create 3 accounts, you know, most of you folks out there, and I'm not saying this in a mean way, the reason you've never been banned and the reason you've never, ever had any kind of harassment from Facebook is because, A, either they don't deem you as a threat, B, either you've had your head in the sand, or C, they just don't really pay attention to you. So here's the thing. We all need to come together. Just because it hasn't happened to you doesn't mean it won't. Remember that old saying, I didn't say anything when they came for the Jews because I wasn't Jewish. I didn't say anything when they came for the Polish because I wasn't Polish. I didn't say anything when they came for the carpenters because I'm not a carpenter. I didn't say anything when they came for the radio talk show host because I'm not a radio talk show host.
Right.
But when they came for me, there wasn't anybody left to defend me.
No.
And they got me. You see, this is what they're going to do. All you good liberals and all you good straight-line conservatives that think that they're not going to touch you, you are dead wrong.
Yeah.
Dead wrong.
Yeah, because what they're actually doing is they're steamrolling the planet. They're liberalizing and Islamizing the planet. By the time this comes back, because you know what makes me laugh the most? You know, all of these LGBTQ people saying, oh, we've got to, you know, we can't, you know, this is so bad. And they're the first ones that are going to be defenestrated. They're going to be thrown off roofs. They will be the first ones that are thrown. But I have to put out a caveat to this, because this is the thing. I don't think all Muslims are bad. It's the radicals that are the problem. The ones that fly planes into buildings, that drive buses into markets, etc., etc. But the thing is that those that don't speak out about it, for whatever reason, are just as bad as far as I'm concerned. Because you know what, Chet? There's a war on now. And the thing is, we had a very lucky escape in 2016. And if the Democrats get in 2020, America is over. You know, get your AWSs out of there, really. That is how seriously I view this. We had a very lucky escape, and if the liberals win in 2020, you may as well move out of America. Would you agree with that synopsis?
Xander, if the Democrats take Congress, it's over.
Yeah.
It's over. And, you know, that's one of the big things we have to concentrate, and you're absolutely right. You know, it amazes me that Hamas still has a blue check mark through Jack Dorsey. Isn't that sick?
Yeah, exactly. The Muslim Brotherhood has do they still have a Facebook page?
Yes.
Yeah, you see, that's disgusting.
As far as I know, I mean, listen, I'm going off for last month's news. Maybe they've taken it down since then. But the only reason they do that is like we were talking about with the I'm not going to say his name, the leader that is from the Nation of Islam, and they took him down.
Yeah.
The reason they took him down was to make it look good, right? That's all that was. We know that.
Right.
I knew that was bullshit from the beginning.
Right.
Excuse me. Excuse my language.
I
knew that was bullcrap, man.
Yeah, I think that part of the you see, this is the thing. If all social media, you know, we need an internet bill of rights, because if we had an internet bill of rights and they treated everybody the same, then I wouldn't have a problem with that. Now, I saw a guy whose name escapes me. There's a video circulating. He's a talk show host. He's a black guy. And I'm mentioning his color because it might help prompt who he is. But he was saying he gets messages on Facebook calling him the M word, and all of these things, and he reports it to Facebook, and they say you haven't violated anything, and so that no one's violated anything. But the concern for me is that the constant double standard has backed us into a corner. I mean, you know, remember when they banned me as a gay man for using the F word when someone had said it to me as a diss?
That happens all the time, and that is the culture of liberalism.
Right.
We have a guy that calls our station, which is located in New London, Connecticut, Long Island, and Rhode Island. He calls every day to Lee Elsey. He's the morning guy. He's a great conservative talk show host. But this guy, he's a black liberal, and he'll call in, and he'll call Ben Carson or anybody else. He'll call them coons. He'll call them Uncle Toms. These terrible, vicious words. And he's allowed to say it because he's black. That's not appropriate. But you can only imagine if it's allowed on terrestrial FM radio, that it's certainly allowed on Facebook and Twitter and all that.
Right. But don't forget they're a private company. If I hear that one more time, I tell you, I'm gonna chuck, I'm gonna hurl. If I hear one more liberal say to me, but they're a private company. You know, the baker, not the last guy that took it through court, but the woman She lost her business and her livelihood because of this.
Xander, the problem is, and I've said this with you before, Google has become such a conglomerate, and they have painted the corner for everything.
Right.
So that now, if you try to start something conservative, you can't get an app, you can't get promotion, they're not going to show you on the web. Yes, you can get a website, but are they going to do ads for it, even if you pay for it? No.
No.
You know, so all that stuff's out the window. People ask me all the time, oh, they have Gab, they have BitChute, they have this. And I tell them,
please,
it's not going anywhere. Because
No,
I've created
it's not.
accounts for Freedom on Deck on those things, and there's nothing there. It's like, it's unbelievable to me that they can actually do that and corner the market, and there's no way to fight back. There's no way.
But when it was broken down before,
the answer's not duck, duck, go.
No,
Xander.
No, it's not. When Google was broken down before, it wasn't broken down enough. When I revamped my website a few years ago, when I'd already left the Liberals and you know was working to get trusted as a conservative, because that's very hard. When I first set up my website as a .com, I went with Google Ad Space, and they banned me the first day.
That's unbelievable.
And all I'd done was, because I don't know if you don't know about building websites, you really wouldn't know this, but you have to actually put the space for the ad, and then they put the ad in later. And I clicked on it to make sure it was working, and I was gone like the first day. I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but this is an ongoing conspiracy, and the concern is that we've been sedate for too long. You know, I said to you the other day. After the election, everybody went to sleep, and we carried on fighting, and I'm tired of fighting. And if you're not with us, you're against us, and it's time for you to come out fighting too. Yeah, I know you've got wives and husbands and jobs and mortgages and all of those things too. But it will be too late to come crying and say, oh, I wish I'd got involved with that fight when I had the chance, when the Liberals have taken the House and the Senate in 2020 because people have sat on their AWSs.
What we need to do is what you were talking to me about in the background, not on your show, and I'll say it right now, is get everybody together and have one day. You know what? 1 week would be even better.
Yeah.
1 week would really hurt them.
Yes, it would.
And all conservatives stay off Facebook and Twitter and let them feel it. But here's the problem, Xander. Probably me and you would be maybe one of the two of a couple hundred that would do it.
Yeah, exactly.
Because here's the issue. They cornered the market. People rely on the promotion on Facebook and on Twitter, which I understand. But if we don't get ahead of it now, if we don't do it now, it's going to lead to a lot worse. And Xander, they're also targeting bank accounts.
Right, for sure.
They're targeting things that are beyond social media.
But let me ask you this, Chet, and I don't have it down on the Donald. I still support President Trump 250%, if not more. Do you think that he is going to step in and do something very soon?
I heard that he is. He said something to Jack. My worry is his little Putin son-in-law. I'm really worried about him. You know, because here's the thing. If you have people in the inner circle that are working against you, I mean, is that et tu, Brute? I mean, could this be the Brutus that is stabbing him in the back?
I would hope that President Trump is shrewd enough to see that, but I think he got. I'm sorry, I don't like Kushner, and it's not because he's Jewish. Before anybody writes in and says that, it's because I don't trust him and never did from day one. And the thing is that ultimately that guy has too much power. Period.
And he's an mainstream liberal. Let's be clear. Him and Ivanka, everybody gets so upset when I make that assertion towards him and Ivanka because they're Trumps. They are liberals, and they are not for the MAGA movement. Trust me, they're dangerous people.
So why?
I don't like them.
So why are they in the White House? Why do they have access to all of these things? Because I think that President Trump has done a pretty good job, and he pisses people off all the time for doing the right thing. Isn't it time to oust Kushner as part of this process?
Because he loves his daughter so much. He does. He's always thought of his daughter as a princess. And, that's a big reason that he sent the Moab in Syria was because of under her direction. You know that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, that's the way he feels about it. But you can't let that cloud your judgment because you also do understand that Jared Kushner's firm has deep ties to George Soros.
Oh, of course. And I said this in the article that I wrote this week, that clearly the money that's going into the data impersonator's website is coming from the Democrats and from George Soros. They've bought this platform. And he's become rich as a byproduct of that. But anybody with half an eye can see that is the case. But how do you stop it? Because American businesses should not be taking money or doing business with people like that. He needs kicking out of the United States. The guy is a treasonous, I can't swear on the show, but the guy needs dealing with. The guy has a home in upstate New York. Why is he allowed to be in the country after all the things that he's done in the past? He needs outing. He needs gone.
Because he controls the banks, and I'm sorry that I swore on your show. I didn't mean to do that. By the way.
Hey, it's good. I wasn't dissing you for swearing. I was stopping myself, and the only way I can stop myself is to make it clear. What we have
to do is tell the Donald that we need his help,
right?
Regardless of his, and I don't think he's against us. I don't because from what I heard when he met with Jack Dorsey, he told Dorsey stop targeting conservatives, and that's a good thing. So you have to follow up.
But how does that?
Just let them continue it. What Zuckerberg's doing right now is unacceptable.
But how does that get us our accounts back on Twitter? Do you know what I'm saying? Because the recompense needs to be that we get our accounts back on Twitter. You cannot, as a social media platform, prescribe people's politics. When I've heard people saying this week, oh, well, Facebook was always a liberal site. It wasn't a liberal site. It actually started off as saying, look what I had for my dinner. Look at the new car I bought. Look at my mother's new hairstyle. It wasn't political when it first started. So don't tell me it was a liberal site from day one.
It was started as a site. Go watch the movie. What's that movie called again? Social Media. Is it called Social Media? It's the story about him and this guy that created Facebook. And it was started as a site in Harvard for students to communicate. It had nothing to do with politics.
No, absolutely not.
It's ridiculous.
And wasn't the guy who co-founded it with him? He's not involved anymore, and his name escapes me. But he's so anti what this platform has become that he's actually speaking out about it.
Yes,
which is a good thing.
He just released some statements saying that he doesn't agree with what Zuckerberg's doing.
No.
So I would love to give Facebook back to him, wouldn't you, Xander?
Well, I think he's out for good, because I think he was bought out. But I do think that things have to change drastically after what that was tantamount to political assassination this week. That is what that was, and I'm worried they're going to be coming after you and I next. That is the concern.
Well, they've already come after us. It's just, what do they deem us as? I mean, are they listening out now? Yes.
Probably.
Right.
Hi, Marky.
They are.
Hi, Marky. You look like Data from Star Trek: The Next Generation. Hey, Mrs. Data, what attracted you to multi-millionaire Mr. Data impersonator? You see, I love this because I'm very clever with things like that. So I can say it. People know exactly what I'm saying without actually saying it. We're coming to the end of our time together. I want you to tell me who you've got on your show this weekend and tell people where they can listen to it and what time, etc., etc.
Well, we have Karen Strawn. She's a great woman that is a men's right activist. She's from Men's Rights Edmonton, and she's going to be talking about sniffing Joe, Xander. She's going to be talking about sniffing Joe and why he's leading in the polls. So we're going to be talking about that. We've got Gordon and Christine.
Sorry, I was sniffing my hair.
They have a great show called Justice for All out here, and there's this crazy scandal that's happened. And the school, Xander, the school is called Bendy Over. I'm not kidding. And this
I didn't go to that school before anybody asks.
They call him a climate expert, and he is hired in Connecticut at Bendy Over in New London, and he actually raped two 13-year-old girls. So
Wow.
we can talk about that with them. It's disgusting, but after your listeners are done listening to you with Joe Messina on The Real Side, tell them to go to our website, go to Freedom on Deck on Facebook, and they can check out FOD Overdrive, because we've got a new show coming out tonight, and they can, after they're done with you, they come over and listen to us, and we've got a really good show ready for you.
Don't try listening at the same time. You can't listen to two good shows in one go. And your show is
10 o'clock. 10 o'clock. They come and listen.
Your main
after Joe.
Right after Joe. Your main show is Sunday 3 to 5. Tell people where they can find that.
Yeah, it's 3 to 5, and you guys can check it out. Just go to freedomondeck.com or go to 949news.com. And Xander's always with us. He's going to be with us this month. He's with us every month, and we appreciate all the promotion. And I wasn't trying to cock-block you. When you're done with Xander, you can come and listen to us. That's all I was saying. All right?
Okay. Listen, thank you. Thank you so much. Chet Martin from Freedom on Deck. Make sure you check them out. Check them out right after you've listened to Joe's show, The Real Side. I'll be there right after. But for now, thank you so much, Chet. I will speak to you very soon, brother. Thanks a lot.
All right, love you, buddy.
Love you too. Take care.
Take care.
But not in a gay way. Well, that is it for tonight's show. It is so good to be back. Thank you to everyone in the live feed. Far too many to name. Do stick around and catch me on The Real Side with Joe Messina. I'll be back next week. I really do love you all. Bye-bye.
Love, it has been good to me this time around. Things were the bound to change when it was found.